Hey, what's up and hello? This is the Chris Nicole bringing you my views on life, love, and the world of entertainment through my eyes. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending on what time you are watching this live. Hello, crew. Hope all is well. Make sure you hit the likety like button on the way in, please. And this is my review on the Never Ever Met season 2, episode 4, Lying for Sports. And lying indeed. Okay. When I tell you none of these couples, except maybe Cinco and Jay, this is a waste of our time at this point. And at this point, the trauma, the lies, the anger, a lot of this stuff has to go. Hey Danielle, hey Leo. Yes, most of these couples need to go. I'm tired of most of these couples. Make sure you guys hit the like button on the way in. So let's get started. So fake Jared, okay? Now I want you guys to keep in mind, we see all of these couples here. We have Tatiana Clavasier dating for 8 months, Charlie and Jared 4.5 years, Kiki and Brandon 4 years. Keep all of that in mind, okay? Keep all of it in mind. Fake Jared. Okay, he asked the guys how they felt about last night and said if Charlie knew what he said, which was a F no to that game, they would be leaving the house. And my whole thing is, yeah, you should be leaving the house. But he claims that he was drinking and he just still had a shock value over having 6 kids under one roof. Look, sir, at the end of the day, what do they say? A drunk person speaks a sober mind. Get the hell up out of here with this nonsense. I don't care what you say at this point. Both you and Charlie are both whack and y'all both deserve each other. But I can't stand the whole smiling in somebody's face knowing damn well you're not feeling them. All you trying to do is get some nookie. That just makes you super, super trifling. But with that being said, Cinco is the only one who got sense when all the guys are talking and saying that the issue is the lack of communication. That is everyone's main issue. And mind you, Cinco and Jay was the couple who had freaky tales immediately when they got into the house. Before they even probably knew each other's mama and daddy's names, they was already having freaky tales. And yet they are the couple that's actually working so far, which is quite interesting. So with that being said, Jay talks to Tatiana about Clay. All right. And they were saying that, well, Jay says she's going to be helping Charlie and Jared. Jay must be like an amazing cook because it seems like she's always helping people with cooking. But she says she's going to be helping Charlie and Jared cook and what's going on with the vegan menu and if Clavasier is going to be eating vegan. And she was like, I don't know. She was like, I don't know, but I didn't tell him to go vegan. He claimed he wanted to go vegan. I'm not forcing that man to be vegan. She was like, and last night I saw this fool eating some beef taquitos. And I was like, okay. And then we see them literally the night before, like, what you got in your mouth? What you got in your mouth? She was like, if you want to eat what the hell you want. I don't care. So at that point, Jay was like, well, girl, if I can be honest, child, I made him a sandwich the night before, a triple hog sandwich. She said it had ham in it, bacon in it. Hell, it even had bacon grease on the bread. She said she toasted the damn bread with the damn bacon grease. Not to mention some cheese on that bad boy, mayo on it. And so she was like, yeah, I don't think he want to go vegan. And Tati is like, this fake mofo. If you're willing to lie about this, what else would you lie about? Because Tati said he told her that he had nothing but vegan food that day. But he's sitting up there lying, not only eating meat, but meeting the whole pig from the rooter to the tutor. Okay. So she's just like, stop the dang on line. If you willing to lie about this, what else are you willing to lie about? Oh, girl, he got a lot to lie about. And so speaking of liars, Charlie and Jared talk, okay? And Jared said that he, of course, he claims to us. Now, he don't tell her. He claims to us, the confessional, that he only said F no because he's drunk. But at that point, he, of course, wants to mention the boom boom room, the intimacy room. And because we know that's all he wants. That's the reason why he keeps lying to her. But here's my problem in this situation. This heifer says, okay, let's book it tonight. Mind you, she just had a child a month ago. She says she has a 1-month-old. Has she even had her 6-week checkup yet? Because I know there has to be a checkup after you have a baby. I know there has to be. They have to check, and they tell you don't do anything like that until that checkup. Ma'am, this is exactly why you got those 4 kids and only one you wanted to actually admit you have, because you are too hot in the pants. Hot pocket like a mofo. Have you lost your freaking mind? That is just nasty. Nasty as hell. I couldn't believe it. I was like, girl, you just had a baby. You still pumping for milk. What are you doing? I don't get it. I don't get it. But she said, let's go. Let's go. Exactly. Just nasty. Exactly. Hey, driven black girl. Yes, that is the time when you are the most fertile. That's the time where you need to heal. That's a lot of stuff. And she should know that since this is her 4th child. But she just don't care. She don't care. All right. So moving on. Brandon and Kiki attempt to talk about her drinking again. And Kiki is like, we are on vacation. And Brandon's like, we ain't on no vacation. We ain't on no vacation. This ain't vacation. This is for us to try to figure each other out and see if we want to still deal with each other after this house. And she's like, I am a grown woman. Mind your business. And he said, I sure will. Let me tell you something. Brandon sounds like his mama right now. And I will explain why I say that later on. But he sounds like his mama right now. His whole demeanor is very feminine in this energy. He's like, yeah, I sure will. Very stank. And he was like, I'm tired of this conversation. I'm tired of it. He stands up and she said, I'm tired of you. But here's the problem with him claiming that he's tired of this conversation. He's not that tired of it because he goes into the house and start gossiping to Cinco, Tatiana, and Jay about his problems with Kiki. So you're not that tired. You just didn't want to talk to her, but you want to talk about her behind her back. Okay, interesting. So while he's talking, Alicia, the cuckoo bird, she sits up there and says, look, okay, why don't you talk to Kiki about this versus talking to the people in the kitchen about this? Because she was outside when they was arguing. And here's the thing. I actually agree with her crazy ass. I actually agree. But the problem is it was the right message, but the wrong messenger. Okay? Yeah. Wrong messenger, because she is the last person to say anything at this point. But of course, he's like, how about you stay out of my business and worry about your own relationship? And she says, you know what? You're right. And she walks away. All right. And then he's not done. Brandon tells Irvin, like, Irvin, your girl came up in here cussing me out about my relationship or whatever the case may be. And Irvin's like, oh boy. Okay, really? That's what happened? Okay, well, let me handle it. But he's like, okay, another red flag. She being messy, being in other people's business. All right. So he sits up there and he tries to talk to Alicia. You know, you can't talk to Alicia. Alicia's always the victim, right? But he tries to talk to her and he's like, you know, look, I'm hearing you up in people's business or whatever the case may be. And she was like, I've been minding my own business. And then he was like, well, Brandon spoke to me about X, Y, and Z. She's like, you know what? Yeah. I just pretty much told him, why don't you talk to Kiki about this? And then he was like, but that's you not minding your own business. And she was like, you know what? My bad. You know what? You're right. My bad. And then he tries to talk to her about it. But then she sits up there and she keeps making little snarky comments. And she's like, you're acting like you're trying to reprimand me. And then she starts speaking in tongues, or what she claims is tongues. Now, look, I don't have the spirit of tongues yet. Okay. Maybe I will get it. All right. I don't have the spirit of tongues. So I would need someone who truly has that Holy Spirit to actually know what she was speaking in tongues. Because of all we know, she could have been doing the heebie jeebies on him. I don't necessarily know if I trust her tongues, because her whole attitude and her whole demeanor does not give Christian, does not give the Holy Spirit. And she had the audacity to say in a confessional, you got me acting crazy, talking to the Holy Spirit to try to calm my nerves. Baby girl, let me tell you something. If this type of conversation really rattled your nerves that much, you need therapy. You don't like people telling you anything. That is your problem. Period. And to me, he was right in this situation. As a man, I am supposed to protect you. As a man, if a man tries to approach you about something, it's my job to approach that man. But don't sit up there and put us in situations that we don't need to be in. In other words, mind your business. And I wouldn't have to talk to you. And she was like, you're not going to talk to me that way. I don't want to talk about this anymore. Let me have my peace. Whew. Girl, let me tell you something. I don't think that was tongues. I do not. I think that he needs to sit up there and get that verified, and he made it get some heebie-jeebies off of him, because I was just like, girl, this is the wrong time talking about I need to calm my nerves. Who knew that that conversation will rattle your nerves? That wouldn't rattle my nerves. It would be a situation where, you know what, you're right. You're absolutely right. Well, babe, don't do it again so I don't have to sit up there and defend you over nonsense that we could easily avoid. You know what, babe? You absolutely right. I'm so sorry. Let's have a good day. See how simple that was? But again, different rules for her, different rules for everybody else. She feels like she can come at people any way she wants. But if somebody talked to her and even still talked to her in a respectful manner, now it's aggression. She said he was flaming hot Cheetos mad. Girl, get the hell up out of here with this nonsense. I really don't have time for cuckoo bird Alicia. I really don't. No one has time for this nonsense. As far as I see it, she needs to go home right now. Kiki and Brandon's therapy session. Whew. Make sure y'all hit the like button. Please hit the like button so I can get into the algorithm pretty please. So they actually sit down with a therapist. And interesting enough, Kiki starts off by saying, you talk to her because you're the one with the problem, talking about Brandon. So we find out Brandon does, in fact, have trauma. Remember, I said that seems like homie has trauma from his past. Well, come to find out, his stepfather was an alcoholic. And his mother and stepfather used to get into it. He used to come home, I guess, apparently drunk or buzzed out. And they ended up getting a divorce because of it. All right. And so with that, Kiki is like looking like, okay, yeah, look, I'm sorry for your trauma, but look, I ain't your dang on stepdaddy. I'm not him. Hey, Shada girl. So yeah, I'm like, okay. So she was like, look, I just feel like at the end of the day, he's judging me. And so the therapist was like, well, how many drinks do you think is like the limit? Okay. How many drinks do you think is the limit? And so he's like, I say 3 drinks and then you should be done. She says, it just depends on the night. It depends on everything. Like, it just depends. Like, I say maybe 3 drinks and 3 shots. And so the therapist is like, so like 6 drinks, 6 or whatever. And then she was like, well, yeah, but like through the night, like it just depends. And so the therapist says, technically, based on like education, 4 drinks is like binge drinking. And for women is much less. All right. Now, let me make this very clear. As someone who went to multiple party schools, I know people who can drink 6 or 7 or even more drinks and be perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. They may be a little buzzed out. Of course, naturally, they're not driving, but they're very coherent. They're not passing out. So I guess honestly, it really would depend on the person. And for me, even at my biggest, when I was close to 300 pounds, I was still a lightweight. So I'm somebody where after about 2 drinks, yeah, I'm done. So it really, really depends on the person. So at that point, she talks about how she didn't always have a drinking problem because the therapist was like, have you've always been this way? And she said, no, it started like a year ago. And she said she lost her mom. And pretty much drinking kind of takes away from being in her mind and how she could just kind of have fun or whatever the case may be. And so the therapist pretty much implies that she's self-medicating. That's what it is. She's self-medicating. But at the same time, the therapist tells Brandon, because of your anxiety and your past trauma, you're trying to control her. And maybe you're a little too aggressive in your approach, especially at this particular time when you guys were trying to get to know each other. So they're trauma bonding at the end of the day. They're trauma bonding. She has her trauma because of losing her mother, which of course it's hard. You know what I'm saying? And then he has his trauma from probably hearing and seeing arguments and stuff like that in his household. So at that point, she tells Brandon, okay, look, you're done. I want to speak to Kiki by herself. He gives Kiki a flower and he walks away feeling like he got a full understanding of what's going on. And maybe he is being a little too aggressive. Okay. Hey, Veronica. So at that point, child, she talks to Kiki alone, and boy, oh boy, we find out Kiki was in an 8-year relationship, okay? And she said that it was her first love, and he cheated on her with multiple people. People. Now, she live in Atlanta, so when you say people, I'm just asking. That's all I'm saying. So at that point, she said she let it go. And the therapist said, well, when did you let this go? And she kind of had a smirk on her face. And she said, 4 months ago. The therapist said, how long you been dealing with Brandon? And she said, for 4 years. Yeah, I know the math ain't mathing. Hell no, it ain't mathing. Girl. And then on top of that, she said she was living with her ex while she was talking to Brandon. Kiki. Now, interesting enough, Kiki, like I said, she comes on my page. She loves the reviews. And I spoke to Kiki, and Kiki said the last episode was not the way, of course, they made it out to be with the editing stuff. And I totally get it. But Kiki, this can't be editing this part right here, my love. This is not editing with you saying that you ended a relationship 4 months ago, and yet you've been dealing with Brandon for 4 years and was talking to him while you were still living with your ex in a relationship with your ex. Kiki, seriously? Come on. But then she claims she really, really cares for Brandon and she really loves Brandon and she feels like they could work it out. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if Brandon gonna deal with this. And let me tell you something. If he's willing to forgive you for this, you may want to see what he been doing. But let's just say if he hasn't been doing anything and he's willing to forgive you for this and work on your situation with your drinking, then girl, you better hold on to him and hold on to him tight, because I don't know that many men that's gonna sit up there and give these type of opportunities. He already got an issue with your drinking and he's trying to be understanding, but then now the whole 4 years pretty much you was messing with somebody else? No, ma'am. Absolutely not. So, okay, but with that, they end up going to Top Golf. And Brandon and Kiki are in the car and they talk about their therapy session. And she said because of it not being biased, she felt like it was a healthy therapy session. Brandon said, you know, he was talking to the guys and they had a shot or whatever the case may be. But all Kiki could hear was, I'm happy you had a shot. And I said, oh my gosh. Even he looked at her, was like, come on now. After all the stuff I just said, the only thing you go talk about is that you happy that I took a shot. But he was willing to sit up there and have fun with her that night. And they decided to have drinks together. And he was like, you want a shot or whatever the case may be. So they decided to have fun. And Kiki was loving this side baby of Brandon. She was enjoying herself. She felt like, okay, like my man, he's willing to party with me. So let's just have a good time. All right. Now. Cuckoo Bird Alicia, honey. And Irvin. Well, no, let's get to Brittany first. Because interesting enough, this is interesting. Brittany feels like Ty is not focused on her, but everything but her. And I would have to agree, because in my personal opinion, Ty seems like he's there for the cameras. I wouldn't be shocked if Ty is another actor. I wouldn't be shocked at all whatsoever. So I would have to agree with her, because it seems like he's focused on the guys and making little smart little comments like he's this comedian, and he's not really focused on her. So with that though, Alicia and Irvin. Child, Alicia and Irvin. Alicia is dancing, right? She getting her little dance on, having fun or whatever the case may be. And Irvin looks at her and she's like, what? I can't dance? And he was like, I didn't say anything or whatever the case may be. And even Brittany was like, he didn't say not one word. He was like, I didn't say anything. And he was like, you being weird. And she's like, oh, I'm being weird. I'm being weird. Oh, okay. Child, in her confessional, she had an issue with being called weird. I said, oh, this girl, was she like extremely bullied growing up where everything triggers her? Like, I mean, at the end of the day, if you having a good time, and even if he did kind of look at her weird for dancing, I have literally sat up there and been grooving in my seat. And one of my friends looking at me like, girl, what the hell you doing? I'm like, I'm grooving. Like, I like this song. You know what I'm saying? Whatever the case may be. Even if someone say, girl, you being weird. I'm being weird dancing in my seat. I'm not about to sit up there and get a hissy fit over somebody calling me weird. But the reason why he's so annoyed is because he's just annoyed with her, period. So she's like, why he got to call me weird because I'm smiling and I'm having a good time? Ooh, you are draining and you are exhausting. Like, stop. Like, you are doing too much. This is just getting ridiculous at this point. I don't even think they've even had one good time together. Even their first date, she was just too intense, saying she wasn't ready for this, ready for that. Irvin, run. I'm telling you right now, just sneak out in the middle of the night and just get in the car and go. But baby, this wasn't the tip of the iceberg. We got 23 people in the chat. Please hit the like button for me. Please hit the like button so I can get into the algorithm. Hitting the like button is free. The tip of the iceberg was Tatiana, baby. She confronted Clavassier and was like, why you sit up there and have, Jay sit up there and make you this triple hog meat sandwich and you claiming you want to be vegan or whatever the case may be. Like, no one told you you had to be vegan. Like, why would you lie about something like that? You told me you have vegan food all day. And so he was like, I can eat what I want to eat. She's like, exactly. You can't eat what you want to eat, but why are you lying about it? And so at that point, Cinco tries to calm down the situation. He was like, look, dude, what did we talk about earlier? Just apologize and move on from the situation. But nah, he ain't trying to apologize at that point. He's trying to talk and she keeps interrupting. And he's like, why you keep interrupting me? She said, because you lying. That's why. So then at that point, Cinco, still trying to calm down the situation, be the peacemaker, he asked Tatiana if she wants to go and swing because, they at Top Golf. And she was like, yeah, I'll swing. And I said, baby, she ain't talking about swinging. She, if anything, swinging that golf cart on him. That's that golf club on him. That's what I think she was saying. Yeah, I'll swing on this trifling ninja. Because they beeped out what she said about him lying. She called him either ninja or she called him the B word. But typically they don't blurt or bleep out the B word. Typically got to be something else. So I feel like she called him a lying ninja. So at that point, Clay, though, being very, in my opinion, messy and was trying to escalate the situation while she's swinging, he was like, you know what I'm saying? You got to sit up there and talk with your hands like that. She was like, I can talk the way that I want to talk. He was trying to get a reaction out of her, in my opinion, because I'm thinking like, why does it matter that she's talking with her hands like that? You act like she had her hands in a fist like she was ready to go. Like, what does it matter? But you just want to sit up there and say something at this point because you embarrassed because she called you out. But Tati is over his nonsense because she was already over it last week because she was like, I feel like this dude is lying to me, right? They get back to the house and Charlie and Jared go to the boom room. Let me repeat myself because I am disgusted. She just had a baby a month ago. Now, let them tell it because all the cameras were around. All they did was cuddle. But if you only cuddle, why you keep saying, Charlie, it was phenomenal and it was better than what you expected? That don't sound like cuddling. That sound like your hot pocket and his hot peen started some freaky tales. Cuddle my ass. We gonna have to see that camera that they couldn't get rid of that was in the corner because you ain't gonna be able to convince me all it was a cuddle night. But we gonna move on. Alicia says that Irvin is toxic, honey. He is toxic for saying that she's weird for smiling and having a good time. And she says some people just enjoy chaos. And I'm like, yeah, that's your name, chaos. Exactly. And she was mad because he was sleeping in the car on the way home. How would you feel on your second date if someone was sleeping in the car on the way home? I would say he was sleepy. I would say that it seemed like y'all was probably at Top Golf for a very long time. Plus, y'all had drinks and he didn't have to drive. So I would say, yeah, he went to sleep. What's the damn problem? Alicia, go to therapy, my love. Go to therapy. So, with that being said, Clay and Tati sit up there and they make, I think, breakfast that next morning. It's a vegan breakfast. And he said that he was eating meat behind her back, but he thought it was funny. But she didn't think it was funny. Fool, please. It ain't nothing funny about it. You just claim you wanted to be vegan because she was vegan. Have your own identity. She even says she's never, the guys that she's dated before, none of them have been vegan. So at the end of the day, if you want to be vegan for you, that's fine. But don't try to be vegan for her. That was her whole point. And don't lie about it. So with that, he sits up there and he's like, look, I'm sorry, or whatever the case may be. And she was like, look, I just don't want you to be lying for sport. Girl, he lying for sport. He's a whole fraud. And we find out that he has a 2-month-old daughter. Mind you, they've been dating for 8 months. 8 months. Okay? And a 2-month-old daughter. I can't wait till she finds out. I can't wait till she find out about that baby. Because Tati, as much as she be about her peace and her zen, she seemed like she about that life. We saw that this episode. She about that life. So I can't wait till she find out about that. So with that being said, honey, let's get to the other main event. Ty's ass and Brittany. Ty is cooking for everyone because I guess he wants to be the cook in the house. And Brittany is in the pool and pretty much, I think he makes a comment about her. Why don't she like actually go swimming? And she was like, I don't want to get my hair wet because we got stuff to do tonight or stuff to do today. And they thinking like, oh yeah, the boom room. Yeah, we got to go to the boom room. And so, we only have, wait a minute. Only 9 likes, you guys. Yes, get the likes up. Please get the likes up. Please, 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 for your girl, get the likes up and welcome to the channel. So he was like, oh yeah, the boom room. She's like, we ain't going there. And he was like, never, ever, forever, never. We ain't never going to the boom room. She's like, no. We ain't going. So she ends up going to Alicia, talk about some, child. I don't know what he talking about because we ain't going to no boom boom room or whatever. So he's sitting up there talking to Clavassi about how he make his salmon and all of this stuff. And so at that point, he ends up going into the kitchen because I guess he's trying to get all of the food. Brittany asked for a drink, and he was like, okay, when I serve everybody else, or I pretty much get everything prepared for everybody else, then I'll bring you your drink. And she's like, worry about the priorities first. Like, in other words, how about you get me, your woman, a drink first, and then you could take care of everybody else. And he was like, you don't need to drink that bad. You don't need it that bad. And Brittany is like, look, this man sat up there and claimed that when we got into this house, he was going to cook for me. He was going to make me breakfast in the morning, whatever the case may be. And he's done none of that. He's been too busy worried about everyone else but me. Gotta agree with Brittany. At the end of the day, you were supposed to be there for her. But again, Ty is there for the cameras. He there to bond with these men, and he's there for the cameras. So at that point, he gets annoyed. Never mind annoyed, he gets angry. Now, I don't know how much y'all could do a close-up on this picture, but even with those glasses on, those sunglasses on, you can see his eyes are bulging right now. When I tell you he got angry, but then he was blatantly disrespectful. He starts talking to Jared and the other guys, and he was like, so did you hear that conversation? So that girl over there, he don't even say her name. He don't even say my woman. He said that girl over there. This girl over here sit up there and talking about how I could get her a drink, and I'm sitting up there trying to serve everybody. She was like, I can't hear you. And he was like, I don't care if you hear me. You the one who started this shit. I was like, oh, excuse me, sir? Who the hell do you think you're talking to? And he's like, you're the one who started this shit. I'm sitting up there, trying to sit up there and feed everybody, whatever the case may be, and you tripping off of a drink or whatever. And she calm and collective, eating her food, and he going off, and she's like, are you done? Are you done? And she was like, let me tell you something. Everything that you said you was going to do, you haven't done. You claim you was going to cook for me. You was going to sit up there. I know you like to cook, but you claim you was going to cater to me, have me try your cooking or whatever. I've asked you to make me some food, and you ain't done none of that. You've been so busy focused on everyone else. Now, instead of him taking that, no. Oh, then I can't do nothing right. I can't do nothing right. And I was like, sir, excuse me. Yeah, she just said you ain't doing nothing right for her. But again, he gets mad because as far as he see it, she's embarrassing him in front of the camera. See, this is what it's about. It's the embarrassment. It's about you got me looking like a fool, not just in front of these folks, but in front of everybody who's going to watch this show. So he's going off. Now, mind you, he did sit up there and talk to Alicia a certain way, but to me, he was more calm with Alicia than he was with Brittany. Mind you, Brittany is supposed to be his woman. But if you look in his eyes, I was like, he's coming off unhinged. He's coming off unhinged. Like, seriously, Alicia talking about Irvin. She's talking about Irvin. No, this dude, she just pretty much said, look, you said you was going to sit up there and cater to me. This should be about us, not about everyone else. And the reality is he looks like he is too busy enjoying everybody else except for her. So to me, that would have been constructive criticism if you're really serious about having a relationship with her. But he continues to go off and she walks away. She was like, I'm not about to deal with no disrespectful man. I'm not about to deal with no disrespectful man. And he's like really flipping out. And I'm like, I'm sorry. It lost me. It completely lost me on why he got so upset when she is saying, let the catering be about me. You can have your moments where you're sitting up there catering to everyone else, but it seems like you want to cater to everyone else but me. I'm not a priority. And I'm sorry, I have to agree with that. I would have to agree with that. But again, Ty, At this point, I'm really trying to figure out who's really there for the relationship or who's really there for the cameras. I'm starting to think that some of these people were casted. Like this is a casting, like for real, that they were trying to get actors on this show. So because I'm just like, there's no way. There's no way that you get that mad because she pretty much said, I would like for you to pay attention to me. It just, to me, it was just like, what the hell is wrong with you? He wants the boom boom room. Yeah, it seemed like a lot of them want the boom boom room. Hey, Kim, unpopular opinion, but she's whiny. You think she's whiny? I don't think Brittany's whiny compared to some of the other women in that household. You know what I'm saying? What? No, you didn't tell me that, Shayna. I don't even remember you telling me that. He's always hooting and hollering. First of all, to me, he's very corny. He's extremely corny to me. But to me, he gives me overacting anytime he talks. He does give overacting. He gives very dramatic and at times draining because he's trying to put on for the camera. So Shayna said she was approached to be on the show. Now that's interesting, Shayna, because have you talked about any type of relationship of online dating? And if you haven't, then that tells me that they just pretty much picking people to be in fake relationships for this show. I think it was weird that she asked him to make her a drink while he was in the middle of cooking. Yeah, but I feel like at the end of the day, this is how you handle that situation if you feel like your woman is being neglected. All right, babe, no problem. I'll, you know what I'm saying, fix you a drink or whatever. Hey, you guys, in about like 5 minutes, if I ain't back, flip over to salmon. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, flip over to salmon. Baby, you want something to drink? Okay, no problem. You know what I'm saying? Flip over to salmon. He felt like his job is to be the chef. Like, that was his job. When, how long does it really take for you to get a drink for your woman? Like, real talk. You know what I'm saying? Now, some could say, why didn't she make a drink for him? But at the end of the day, she's saying that he claimed he was going to do all of these things for her when he was in the house, and he hasn't done any of it. You know what I'm saying? So to me, I feel like she's like, hey, what about me here? What about me? And honestly, even the fake couples in here are definitely acting like at least they're trying to cater to that particular person. We really haven't seen that much of an intimate scene yet between Ty and Brittany. Even with the couples massage, you know what I'm saying? Like they really didn't have like an intimate conversation. It was all jokes for Ty. And I think that's what it is that she's like, I like your humor, but I'm sure you guys have met people where it's like, everything doesn't have to be a joke. There's a time to be serious. There's a time to be loving. There's a time to be romantic. And Ty seems like he can never turn off him trying to be the center of attention. You know what I'm saying? Even if it is cooking for everybody, so he can get all the kudos and all the praise for cooking for everyone, so people can tell him how good the food is. It seems to me that he is from what we have seen on the show, he's neglecting her. It's really not chemistry happening with most of these couples. It's not. It's not. She needs to have a conversation with him. If a man asks me to make a drink while I was cooking, I'll go off too. I do see her point, but poor timing. I mean, at the end of the day, I get what you guys are saying too, but here's my thing in this situation. He didn't pay attention to her at the date, and that was the time to pay attention to her. Something tells me that whole little thing that he cooked and grilled that day, he volunteered to do that. Remember, they have cooking days and cooking nights, and the couples will get together and cook. Ty probably volunteered to cook. You know what I'm saying? So we don't know if this was literally the day before, the night before, where she literally felt neglected at the date, and then this is the next day, and she feels like she's still not getting enough attention. Now, the reality is all of them have issues with communication. But do I feel like what was going on in this situation, was it necessary for him to come the way that he did, talking about old girl and going off the way that he did? Unnecessary. Unnecessary. One person can't do all the giving. That is true. But where has he been giving the giving to Brittany? Where has he been giving the giving to Brittany? Not to everyone. Where have we seen so far he's been giving the giving to Brittany? Now, one could say that we haven't seen her been giving to him either. But we're talking about what he said he was going to do, and he was going to sit up there and cook for her and all of this stuff. What I'm saying is, where has he been giving the giving? He seems that he wants to give the giving to everyone in the house, including her, but not exclusive to her. There's couples that have had their own intimate settings and their own intimate moments. You know what I'm saying? So where's their intimate moment? Where's their intimate setting where she can feel like she's special? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm saying. And it's giving that he is literally focused on everyone else except for her. You know, and again, we're talking about seeing what we're seeing, the editing and everything else. For all we know, he could have been saying, hey, Britt, how you doing tonight? Or whatever the case may be. Or baby, you want something to drink or whatever. You want this, you want that. But from what we see on the show, he hasn't done any of that. He more focused on the guys putting, golfing, and too busy trying to show the guys how he can cook and how he's trying to impress them. So I agree with Brittany on that. Now, unless I see something else, but from what I've seen, your whole purpose of coming on this show is to meet with, now this is the premise of the show. You're supposed to meet with the woman or the man that you have been dating online if you've never met them, and you're supposed to get to know each other in this house, see if you guys can live together and work together and end up leaving together at the end or separating yourself at the end. Where has Ty really put in some type of effort when it comes to Brittany? And as a woman, at the end of the day, I want to see my man take the initiative first. Sorry. They say chivalry is dead, not over here is not. Because we know men think differently than women. Women naturally are lovers and caterers and nurturers. A lot of times we want to see the man take initiative first before we start taking initiative. So where's his initiative to cater to her? And to really show what he claimed he was going to do, which was cater to her and really show her one-on-one time. I haven't seen it. So let's see. He's coming off like Kiki is a vacation for him. Yeah, if you're my man, we stop, drop, and roll for each other first. That's the way I see it. You know what I'm saying? I agree with that, but he was hollering 50-50, so I don't know what she was expecting. I mean, again, at the end of the day, maybe we're not seeing something where he's been asking her to do certain things and we haven't seen her do it. Again, it's editing. What we do know is when they were cooking the first night, she was pretty much his, assistant. Anything he said, babe, do this, do that, put this seasoning on here. She was pretty much supporting him in that kitchen and following his lead. So I don't know what he's referring to on that situation, because to me, if he's trying to say 50-50, if you see me cooking for people, assist me in helping cook, I think what she's trying to say is, how about you stop cooking for everybody and focus on me? Period. You know what I'm saying? Like, let them figure out what they gonna cook, and then maybe you cook for me and we have an intimate setting one-on-one. I don't see anything wrong with that. But again, that's me. I don't see anything wrong with that. But what I do know is he went a little bit too far with his attitude. He was like pissed off. And I'm like, sir, really? You went off a little too hard, a little too much in this situation. So we're going to have to see what happens with that. But I feel like there was a lot of things that was probably said, because I felt like he was being disrespectful with just how he was coming across from what we saw. We don't know if there was certain things cut out, because when she walked away and said she ain't dealing with no disrespectful man, I was like, child, I don't know what the hell he said. But when he even started off with that girl over there, so now you started disrespectful. You don't even know my name no more. Like, seriously? But she's not saying it to him. That's her only problem. He snapped easily. She needs to take heed. She needs to take heed about snapping. Well, if he snaps easily, she needs to go. But here's the thing. We already discussed that, though. everybody got an issue with communication on this actual show. They all have an issue. And if you notice, it seems like it's a pattern that once they see that a couple has a communication issue and they're about to get into it, then the therapist comes in. So I wouldn't be shocked if the next episode, Ty and Brittany and Tatiana and Clavassi are about to have a sit down with the therapist. So that's the reality. They all have an issue with not knowing how to talk to each other. And if they try to talk to each other, you have people like Alicia who claims she's speaking in tongues and being disrespectful, or they don't even feel comfortable talking to each other. And then they go to other people to talk about their significant other, allegedly their significant other. So that's typically how they move on this show. So I wouldn't be shocked. We're going to see Ty and Brittany probably next week having a conversation with the therapist, and then we're going to really get down to the bottom of it and what was going on. But I didn't like the way he was coming at her. I did not like the way that he was coming at her. She said no boo-boo room and all. Ain't that the... When he said not forever, like it seemed like it did come off like after she said, yeah, we ain't going to no boo-boo room, that he was like, oh, I ain't about to get no nookie, then F you. F you. It could come across that way, but again, editing is very interesting. So we'll have to see. But with that being said, you guys, that was the end of the episode. Yeah, most of these couples don't need to be on here. Point blank, period. Even if all of these people or the majority of these people are actors, some tells me that moment with Ty was not acting. And if it was, then I would like to know when he's going to get a freaking acting gig, because the way his eyes was bulging out, and I could see his eyes bulging out behind those sunglasses, that should tell you that that dude, something wasn't right. I'm like, damn, you really getting this annoyed. Like, I don't know. I feel like the older I get, I'm like, I'm not about to sit up there and get annoyed over something like that. Like, at the end of the day, we gonna talk about it later, but I'm gonna sit up there and do. If he claimed he wanted to feed them, he gonna feed them and then get the drink. If she got an attitude, we'll talk about it later. But that whole situation and how that happened, why you saying, Shayna, that she should have talked to him? Why did he have that whole conversation with the guys too? They all have issues with communication. They all have issues with communication. They don't know how to talk to each other. They don't know how to communicate, period. And I guess that's probably why they preferred the online dating for so long and never saw each other. I think they need to get rid of online dating. Force people to actually talk in person at this point. Go back to the 80s and 90s. I'm telling you, I think things would be much better, because at this point, watching this show, online dating scares the hell out of me. Yes, it does. And I'm going to just leave it at that. So with that being said, you guys, thank you guys so much for listening. Please hit the like button. Please like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you on my next video. Toodles.